Have you ever wondered what it feels like to be called a tourist? Well, I do. And I can tell you that it wasn't a pleasant experience, but it had its perks and quirks. And it was my first experience with a Karen. So if you want to know what went down, keep watching. Yeah! Also, I'm allergic to cats, but everybody loves cats. Can't deny you guys from that. I'm doing this all for you, just you. Okay, here's what we are gonna do. We are going to be using the word tourist as a censor word for the other word, and I bet you know what I'm talking about. Duh. Because we really don't want to demonetize this channel when it's still fresh out of the womb. I'm gonna be listening to some music while I talk about this because it makes it easier to talk about. And I feel like I'm really going to ruin that word for you. So now here are a few things that you should know about before we start off with the story time. I was 17 at the time and I was studying abroad in Korea. I had just moved.
And you can't sit with us. You can't sit with us!
I forgot to mention that at the time I had just graduated high school. And I was literally a fetus. And I graduated from an international high school in an Arabic-speaking country dominated by the Islamic religion. So you can just imagine how protected, unforeseen something like this would be for me. And I think this was around the end of 2015, like right before 2016 started. My classmates were 90% Chinese, although there was like a lot of Western foreigners in the school, but not specifically my class. My class only had like a handful of Western foreign students. There were 2 Russians, 1 girl from the UK. I think those are the only Western foreigners in my class. One of them was Karen, and she was one of the Russian people in that class. The other Russian person, although she was full-on Korean, she grew up and lived her whole life in Russia. She just counted herself as Russian, and she barely knew any Korean at the time. Let's just call her A. And then the rest of the class are Chinese, and then there's me from Palestine, the only person in class who spoke Arabic. Now this is all important information that you guys should know. Now everyone in my class was so friendly. They were also open to getting to know each other. So when I first went to Korea, I didn't want to like straight dive into college. I wanted to have a break from studying and stuff, and I really wanted to like explore the country and you know, all that jazz. So what I did in the meantime, I joined my college's Korean language program, and that is where I met A and
Karen.
Now let me clarify, I have never experienced racism coming from Chinese people or any Korean person to be specific. A bit introverted, they were really friendly, and if you would ask for help from someone, the only reason that they would freak out and run away from you is because of the language barrier, which is why you need to learn another country's language if you want to go live there. Just common sense. Now for the first month when I was there, I had a very hard time making friends because I'm not someone at the time, I wasn't someone who would easily make friends. Like my dad was how I made my first friend in Korea. Like
Oh my god.
honestly, that's a story for another time. Reminder, we're gonna call this girl A because I don't want to expose her name. But if I knew Karen's actual name, I would have exposed her because she deserves to be exposed. But A is a good person. She's a very private person as well. So I really would like to respect that. Now here's how me and A became friends. Our Korean language center was planning this tournament thing, and every class had 2 groups. Me and A ended up in the same group, and on that day we hit it off, and surprisingly we had a lot in common, and she's so nice. She's a very aloof person with a very soft personality. Like she's the type of person you want to protect, you know what I mean? She was kind of like a bit opposite from what I am. So after that day we just started hanging out every single day after class. We'd go eat together, shop together, draw together, work out together. Oh my god, it doesn't end. Now most of the time when we would go out after class to have lunch or something, a bug would tag along with us.
What the fuck is going on in here on this day?
Like no one asked her to tag along, but she just forced herself into this hangout. And yes, you got it right. That is how I met Karen. Let me tell you something about Karen. I always felt that Karen had this vendetta against me for some unknown reason. She would always give me those death glares and stare me down whenever I spoke in my own language. Like she would just give me this look of disgust, you know what I mean?
Well, just as I thought, Trash.
Karen was really hostile towards me from day one, and I really didn't know why, and I didn't even care to know the reason, because I am someone who doesn't really give a shit, and I just thought that she had this resting bitch face and that she was just someone with a shitty personality. I'm someone who doesn't really care what others think about them, and I do whatever I want, but I don't think I ever did something weird or bad or said anything hurtful. Like, I could go on and on about how she would mistreat me. She was a 35-year-old lady, which is weird now I think about it. She was 35 and me and A were 17 at the time, and she was hanging out with us. That's weird behavior. That's pedo behavior. So one day,
Let's get sickening!
me, A, and Karen were all hanging out at A's apartment. Everyone was doing their own thing, and I was just sitting there minding my own goddamn business, as everyone else should be doing on this planet. I was on my phone texting my mom. A was drawing, and Karen was studying, I think. I'm not sure. I don't really care what the hell she was doing, so.
Clap if you care. Clap if you care.
And so my mom sends me this video, and I go ahead and I play it, and the video had like an Arabic song, and the song was just something like
Naughty, 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 naughty.
I feel secondhand embarrassment remembering this for Karen. Oh my god. And I swear, not even 10 seconds into the song, Karen just starts screaming at me and she explodes like TNT, dude.
Fuck you! Fuck you!
And her face is so red, like it looks like a tomato. Not even a tomato, like a strawberry. She was so furious, dude. And me and A were just staring at her in shock. And all she's saying was just like tourist, tourist, and all these racist, hateful words. There's racist, and there's sexist, and there's homophobic, but what's that word for when you hate someone else's religion? Is it also racist? Please let me know in the comments. So yeah, Karen just keeps spitting those ugly ass words at me, and I'm just like sitting there in shock, because I never in my life imagined I would have to go through something like that.
Yeah. This is just...
It was so random, I was not ready for it. And A was literally terrified, because if you saw Karen, she literally shape-shifted into Godzilla. Even Godzilla's way prettier than her. And yeah, so I tried to open my mouth to say something back, but she wouldn't let me. Like, she'd just keep on cutting me off, and she's like heaving. She's not even breathing. She's just like screaming and screaming and on and on. And all that was in my head, like I was just thinking, how can I respond to this person in a way where I could make her feel ashamed for even calling me that word? How would the Prophet Muhammad respond to something like this? And at the time, I was really going through my Islamic spiritual journey, because I was learning more about my religion and I was getting more into it. And I would say that before that, I think I would have reacted very aggressively. Maybe I would have punched her, literally. I don't even know why I didn't do that. But back then, I had so much patience for some reason, since I was learning more about Islam and how much of a peaceful religion it is, and that just boiled my blood, because this, okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this word, bitch is calling me a tourist, man.
Should she suffer? All right, clap if you think she should suffer.
Now, I waited patiently for Karen to be completely out of breath, and she literally looked like a heaving bull.
Relax, relax. Take it down to...
That's when I had my moment. I stood up and I was like, you're calling me a tourist when you're a 35-year-old screaming that word at a 17-year-old? Who's the real tourist here now, bitch? A Muslim person would never act the way that you did. We have more class, because we're not actual tourists like you. I was so proud of myself, dude. I think I handled that situation pretty well. I know I could have said some better stuff, but in the heat of the moment, you know, when something crazy happens to you, you don't know how to react. I think that was a pretty good response coming from me in a situation like that. I just looked at A and I was like, I'll see you at school tomorrow, and then I packed up my stuff and left. Because if I stayed any longer in that room, I think I would have committed murder, like actual murder. You gotta give me credit for that. But I'm not gonna lie, I did tear up on my way back home, like I ran all the way back home. And the next day, I was surprised that I didn't see Karen in class for a whole week. She did not even show her face for a week, dude.
Oh, she passed away? Yeah! Oh. All right.
I found it really funny that I had to go through an experience like that, especially when I'm like not even wearing hijab. But I take pride in my religion and I really respect every girl that made her own decision on wearing hijab, because hijab is like a commitment. It is literally putting yourself out there, and I believe that it takes a lot of guts to do that. And if you're not living in an Arabic country, it just makes it so much worse, because there's a lot of racism and hate out there in the world towards Muslims, because the media chooses to show off all the bad things. Muslims, who I would consider to not even be actual Muslims because of the things that they do, which contradicts everything in Islam. Islam literally means peace. If you're not a peaceful person and you're not loving or caring or humble or whatever it is towards other people or in the world or your personality itself, you are not following actual Islam. And I find it really funny that she thought I was a Muslim automatically just because I speak Arabic. She thought I was Muslim. Islam is not a country, it's not a culture, it's a religion and a lifestyle. Islam is also one of the reasons why I'm still here today. So I think I'm gonna finish off this video here because I feel like I'm just rambling at this point and I could go on and on about this issue, but let's keep that for another video. I don't want to make this video any longer. I want to finish this video off by saying that if you ever experience something like that, if you ever encounter a hateful, uneducated person like that, don't let it get to you. Just allow it to go through one ear and out the other, because at the end of the day, their words are meaningless. Their presence is useless to you. And take pride in who you are. Always love yourself no matter what. Don't allow anyone to talk you down. And you know, we don't tolerate sexism, homophobia, racism, whatever, etc., on this channel. So maybe like consider subscribing, because this channel is a safe space for every single one of you.